most e-commerce brands need to pay more attention to the changes in performance of UGC. If you're still relying on old methods of making and running UGC on your ad account, then the chances are you're losing out on a huge potential of customers. In this video, I will reveal if UGC is still worth investing in and some strategies that e-commerce brands can tackle today in order to get results. Hello, my name's Fraser and I make a whole lot of UGC. My agency Fraggle makes over 600 videos every single month for some of the biggest D2C brands in the world, and I'm here to teach you the methods that make my clients money. Let's take a trip back to when UGC was new and exciting for e-commerce brands. People loved it. It ticked pretty much all the boxes that people looked for when it came to ad creative. It was authentic, it was affordable to make, and it was well performing. And at that time, when social media advertising was still relatively new, most brands were just reframing their TV commercials and just running them on social. Or they were paying some huge agency to make some multi-million-pound advert just for Facebook, which meant the barrier to entry was so incredibly high. So when UGC came about, it meant that anyone could advertise on Facebook with great ad creative. And also, because of how authentic it felt, it meant that it carried a lot of social proof. You had this random person talking about how great your product was, and to the average consumer, that was fantastic because they had someone that looked like them and the video felt like something that they could film, and it was delivered to them on their timeline. So it was huge social proof. It was new, but most importantly, it felt organic, and video was just growing and growing and growing on platforms like Facebook and Instagram. But let's jump forward to today. The UGC landscape is entirely different. In fact, consumers have now become pretty clever and they can spot a scripted fake UGC video. And the reason for that is because they see them all the time. And because so many influencers promote products that they've never tried before, that means that the social proof aspect of UGC has kind of fallen away. And also now with platforms like TikTok, it's even more synonymous with UGC, which means that special kind of handmade quality that UGC ads had way back no longer have that, because TikTok has basically made that barrier to entry incredibly low. And because of this, a lot of brands have seen declining metrics from UGC ads, and some are completely moving all their spend to things like static ads or high production ads and moving entirely away from UGC. But then you have other brands who are 1,000,000% still on the UGC bandwagon and they are riding that and it is working. So it's no longer one size fits all when it comes to UGC ad creative. And I know at this point you might be panicking because I feel like UGC is now synonymous just with ad creative in general. And when you're starting up a brand, the first thing you do is send out your product to a creator, get them to make some ads, and you run it. Don't worry, I've got some strategies later in this video which will help you, battle that. But I think it's really important to understand what has happened now that UGC has become less important in your strategy. People have started leaning on a thing that we call creative diversity, which is essentially having a diverse range of ad creative inside your ad account. So instead of just running ads that are all UGC, instead you might have some static ads in there, you might have some high production ads in there, you might have some street interview ads. Whatever it is, it's about having a range of different creative styles. And one of the main benefits of that is that you suddenly start attracting more customers, because people that might have before not really wanted to shop with you because you were just running UGC ads and they didn't trust you, they now trust you because they're getting served ads that they enjoy consuming. So it's now less about just making one creative that suits everyone and more about making different types of creative that suit your entire customer base. So on that note, what can e-commerce brands do right now to change their strategy for this adapting landscape? Well, the first one is to focus on authentic collaborations. This can be with influencers or micro-influencers, but it can also be with your customer. There's some fantastic brands out there. A great one to look at is Obvi, because they use their customers as UGC creators. They offer incentives like credit in their store if their customers submit videos saying how much they love their product. Or they even get on a Zoom call with them, record it, and then use that as ad creative. This is a brilliant way to basically get free creative, but also to make it authentic, because these are users, these are lovers of the product. So wherever there's an opportunity to get some authentic video from a real customer, then you should definitely go down that route. However, don't just completely throw out your scripted UGC, because it still can work. Like I mentioned, we make basically all scripted UGC at Fraggle, and it still performs incredibly well. You just need to make sure that it's done right. There's ways that you can edit videos to make them look more authentic. There's ways of working with the right people to make sure that it sounds authentic as well. I mentioned that in a past video about hiring UGC creators, where you hire actors instead of creators, because actors are used to delivering scripted messages every single day. So with a good script and a great actor, you can almost kind of like jump over that authentic barrier, because although people can kind of tell it's an ad, they still believe it because it's delivered in such a way that makes them that. And like I just mentioned, editing plays a big part in how a consumer relates to the content that they're watching. For example, limiting the amount of captions. Let's be honest, if we're making a video on TikTok, we're not putting captions all over the screen. We're not going crazy. A lot of the time, we're just filming and posting. And so raw, authentic UGC videos like that have really had a resurgence. So what I suggest is whenever you make a UGC video, do one with lots of captions and subtitles on the screen, but then do a variation where it's just raw, just the clips, just the creator speaking. It might feel weird, and it feels weird pressing go when you launch that ad, but honestly, it's a really worthy test, because you can very quickly find out if that style of content works for your brand or not. And also, you can just like lean into different styles of creative, so blending UGC with high production techniques. We do this a lot at Fraggle because we have the ability to shoot high production in our studio. And so what we'll do is we might have, a UGC creator talking about how much they love their product, filming the product, get some shots of that, and then we'll throw in some high production shots in the studio, or, like stuff that looks really crisp and nice. This often gives a really nice mix of like product trust. If you're spending money on high production, then you're probably not going to scam them, but also the relatability that comes with UGC. It's the best of both worlds. All of those are strategies which we implement for our clients, and it has worked. So don't just disregard UGC entirely. You just need to change the way that you approach it. So as a summary, UGC, it's not dead. Some of the best UGC to make is authentic, raw style UGC. And remember creative diversity. Don't let UGC be the only thing that's live in your ad account. Now you know the state of UGC, but to make it work for your brand, you might need a little bit of help. And that's where someone like myself can come in. If you want to ensure that you're doing UGC right and your ad creative strategy is on the right track, then feel free to book a call with me down below. I'd love to have a conversation with you about how we can scale your brand. Or if you're not quite ready yet, don't worry. Here's another video on how I use AI to make ad creative. I'll see you in the next one.